In Imposters, after a couple's baby is taken, the desperate mother learns of a way to get their baby back. However, the husband begins to suspect what she brought back isn't their son. Imposters is directed by Caleb J. Phillips, and this is his second feature after Brothers in Arms from 2017, and Imposters just debuted at the 2026 South by Southwest Film Festival. Imposters is a very well made, creepy horror thriller that surprisingly has a lot to say in its themes and the way it's structured and about its characters. The second half of the film is much stronger than the first half of the film, so if you're impatient with this film, you'll definitely be rewarded. In this film, Jessica Roth and Charlie Barnett play a couple who have just had a son, and in their marriage, I think just before they got married, their relationship was a little bit rocky, but Jessica Roth, she got pregnant. They've decided to move from the city to the countryside to start fresh. Charlie Barnett used to be a police officer, but he was shot on duty and is now retired. He's now working in insurance. We find out at the start of the film that he's cheating on his wife Jessica Roth with a work colleague. They decide to have a party to welcome their new neighbors and to get introduce themselves to everybody. And during this party, Charlie Barnett takes a phone call and puts the baby upstairs in the cot, and then goes downstairs to take a phone call, but the baby goes missing. When Jessica Roth goes up the stairs to see him, he's gone. And later on in the film, the town weirdo played by Bates Wilder, he tells Jessica Roth and Charlie Barnett that he knows where their son is. Bates Wilder tells them that there's this mysterious cave. If you go into this cave, then you'll find your son and you'll be able to bring him back. As I said before, the second half of this film is stronger than the first half of the film, but then again, you still have to pay attention to what's happening in the first half of the film. All these details, lots of little details and Easter eggs that you have to pay attention to that become important later on in the film, such as Charlie Barnett's his extramarital affair, he's cheating. You're kind of thinking in the first half of the film, why they make his character like this? How am I supposed to feel bad for him when he's doing this to his wife? And his wife seems to be normal and quite relatable and a nice woman, so why is he cheating on her? But these details do become important later on in the film, and the little earthquakes that happen throughout the film, and the flipping of the coin, and all these small little details that happen throughout the first half of the film become very important later on the film. And in the first half of the film, Jessica Roth, she does end up going into this cave and bringing out her son, but she refuses to speak about what happened in his cave. And then in the second half of the film, Charlie Barnett, in the first half of the film, he's too scared to go in his cave with his wife, because he's afraid that if he goes into the cave, he'll find a dead baby. So, and this decision is very vital in the second half of the film. In the second half of the film, when we get a flashback of Jessica Roth going into this cave, and when she goes into the cave, when you go into the cave, it's kind of like a big maze of different tunnels and metal shed, it's kind of like metal corridors, and if you go into a different direction, you end up going into a different reality. And when Jessica Roth goes into this cave, she ends up in a whole wide range of different realities, and these realities are her with her husband, and different scenarios. It's her with her husband in a wheelchair, her and her husband have lost a baby, her and her husband still have the baby. It's just, and her and her husband are not very good in the marriage. Her and her husband are very happy with their baby in their life. So, in each of these realities, Jessica Roth, she tries to steal the baby, and we find out that in the first half of the film, when they have that party and someone steals the baby, is actually an alternate reality, Jessica Roth, who actually stole the baby. And also in the second half of the film, Charlie Barnett finally brings up the courage to go into this cave just to see what's going on. And when he goes into this cave, he ends up in a different reality. And in this reality, he finds a Jessica Roth and a Charlie Barnett. Charlie Barnett's in a wheelchair from the gunshot accident from many years before, and they've lost their son, but when Charlie Burnett tells the new other Charlie Burnett and Jessica Roth that they have no idea what's okay, we have no idea what you're talking about. So Charlie Burnett ends up like staying in his reality. Okay, if this plot that I'm describing sounds confusing, it does make sense when you watch the film. And this second half of the film, all these different realities, it uses this like kind of gimmick to explore how to be happy in your life, how to be content in your life, what makes you happy, what decisions you make in your life, how they affect other people. And I think it really uses this gimmick and these different realities in a quite profound and very emotional way to us as a viewer to explore, to be thankful for what we have in life, and to just accept be happy with what you have, and seek out what makes you happy in life. This film is very well made. The musical score and the production design and the sound design and performances by Jessica Roth and Charlie Barnett really do combine to make a very suspenseful, very especially if you stick around to the second half of the film. The first half of the film, Charlie Barnett like questioning his crazy wife, like that started to get a little bit repetitive. But if you stick around to the second half of the film, it really does pay off. I give Imposters 3.5 stars out of 5. I definitely recommend checking out this very creepy, very well made horror thriller that if you stick around to the second half of the film, it really does explore a lot of really deep themes like who you are in your life, and identity, and your impact that your decisions have in your everyday life. So I definitely recommend checking out this film, Imposters. Thanks for watching. What did you think of Imposters? Please comment below what you thought of the film. See you next time. Bye.